After a poor start, Georgiev responds with some solid play, but the Sharks continue to be unable to put it all together for a full 60 minutes.
You're Locked On Sharks, your daily podcast on the San Jose Sharks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, welcome to Locked On Sharks, the premier hockey podcast covering your favorite team in the Bay Area. My name is JD Young, caretaker of the Reef, also the co-host of Locked On NHL's Tuesday's edition. I want to thank you for making Locked On Sharks your first listen, proudly part of the Locked On Network. We cover your team every day, even when they lose to Vegas Golden Knights again. So if you want to be an everydayer, all you have to do is just follow wherever you get podcasts, or you can watch on YouTube as well. And today we're going to be discussing the Sharks' 4-2 loss to the Vegas Golden Knights, who thankfully we don't have to play anymore for the rest of the season. This is it. The season series is done. We're going to see these guys again until next season. Thank you. I am so tired of them. I'm tired of getting my butt kicked by Vegas. I'm just tired of it. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Alexandar Georgiev. Poor start, great response throughout this game, and then kind of what the Sharks are going to have to do at some point when Vanacek comes back. We'll talk some William Eklund. We'll talk about Macklin Celebrini. If he might need some help, if we might need to break up the NCAA line, kind of dig into that, and of course dig into the numbers behind this game and why the Sharks could not win this game because they just couldn't get their offense going. So let's start though with Alexandar Georgiev. I think was the big story coming out of this game, right? And if you're anywhere on Sharks Twitter, the big question was, well, why didn't you start Askarov? And I get it. He hadn't played since Saturday. Askarov's coming off 2 great games where the Sharks won. You can't start Askarov every game, right? And Georgiev's had basically a week off. You got to get him back on the ice at some point. Askarov's also started 5 of the last 7 games for the Sharks. And the worst thing you can do for a young goaltender is run him into the ground, especially in a meaningless season like this year where you have you're not going to the playoffs, right? All these games right now are, yes, you're trying to get better, and NHL experience is good for Askarov and it's good for all the players. But like, there's like, you can't just keep playing Askarov. And as much as like you gotta play Georgiev occasionally. So Georgiev played tonight, and it was a brutal start, right? Brutal start for Georgiev, who was well on his way to being, his normal Forviev ways, but made some big saves. Also had some big blunders, especially that second goal. The first goal, I'm gonna put on Cody Ceci. Also, Mark Stone's really good at hockey. He makes a lot of people look really bad at hockey. Mark Stone's very good at hockey, but Cody Ceci needs to do a better job of just doing something there other than panicking. But so I'll that's a tough first goal. Second goal though, bad turnover by Mukama Dillon, 100%. Sharks trying to kind of play catch up from a bad turnover in the neutral zone. But that's a goal Georgiev has to stop there. And as soon as that goal went in, right, every Sharks fan was just like, "Where's Askarov? Where's Askarov?" And again, I get it. I like watching Askarov play too. I would much rather watch Askarov. Like if Askarov played in this game, I think it would have felt like a really big game. And and you kind of miss out on that. And I totally get that. But sometimes you got to protect yourself from yourself, and sometimes you got to protect these young goaltenders from themselves as well. And like if the Sharks were in the middle of a playoff race, right? Cool. We can have that conversation, right? Again, the Sharks are second worst team in the NHL right now. Like there's no reason to run Askarov into the ground right now. Like it's, again, I'd rather have him playing meaningful games at some other point. But Credit to Georgiev, who got his stuff together in this game and made some big saves. Like there was a Jack Eichel one-on breakaway, one-on-one Eichel and Georgiev. Georgiev makes a big save. There are a lot of point-blank saves. Georgiev making big saves tonight. And again, credit to Georgiev, who like this could have been especially that second period, this could have been a bloodbath type of game. Like Vegas did a really good job, especially kind of in that second period of just slowly putting their foot on the gas and just going. And the Sharks just did not have a response for it. And even the power play goal, like there's not much Georgiev could have done on that situation there. Like I thought after a brutal start, I thought Georgiev played pretty solid in this game, like better than solid. I thought he was actually good in this game. Other than like that second goal, if you wipe that away and it's just like a normal goal, we're talking about, wow, Georgiev had a really great game tonight. According to Natural Stat Trick, he went 12 for 12 on high danger saves tonight in all situations. Like there again, that second goal you definitely want back, but I thought he played hard and he battled and he kept this Sharks team in this game that they had no business being in. Like that, this game had no business being 3-2 late in the third with the Sharks with an opportunity to tie this thing up, just because of how much Vegas outplayed. Like even just raw shot totals, like it was 22-42. And Georgiev went 38 saves and 41 shots. Like the one extra shot was the empty netter, of course, by Hurdle. 927 save percentage. Like if you took off the numbers and just put Askarov, you would have been like, wow, that was a great game from Askarov, right? Georgiev played well tonight, and you're going to have to just kind of accept we're gonna see Georgiev. Like you can't just play Askarov every game. It's not fair to Askarov, but it's not fair to the franchise to expect that from Askarov. And again, the end goal is to eventually win a cup. Running your 22-year-old goalie who's, your first year in the franchise with them, running him into the ground right now isn't the worst. I know people are going to be like, well, whatever. Like he's 22 years old. He needs to play to get better. Like the dude's played a ton of games with the Barracuda this year, right? He's gotten the bulk of the starts of the Barracuda. He's gotten the bulk of the starts since he's been up. Again, he's played 5 of the last 7. It's like you got to pace it. You have to pace it, like because yeah, he's doing well now, but then like these things, it kind of starts to chip away, and then you don't want to have where he maybe strings together a couple bad performances, and then all of a sudden you kind of the confidence maybe starts to take a hit, stuff like that. I think though for the Sharks, you have to play one of Georgiev or Vitek Vanecek when they get back. So when Vanecek is back, I don't know. I mean, my gut tells me they send Askarov down, but again, we talked about the other day where it would be hard for me if I'm a Sharks player and you said, hey, we're sending Asky down. Like it would be hard for me to kind of swallow that. I don't know what they do. I don't know if Georgiev's ever going to rebound. Again, played well tonight. I don't know if we're going to see consistent enough performances from Georgiev to potentially squeak a trade out of. I think they're going to eventually have to make a decision between Georgiev and Vitek Vanecek and try to wave one of those guys and send him down to the Barracuda and see if they can kind of recapture their game or at least keep the spot warm for a good Barracuda team. Like that's a good Barracuda team who kind of needs some goaltending help right now with Georgiev up in the NHL. So, right, Georgiev, go play for the rest of the season. Keep the seat warm for Askarov for the playoffs type of thing. That could be it. Or maybe Vitek Vanecek gets a couple rehab starts with the Barracuda. That's another option while they again try to kind of push things back here. Maybe just try to kind of kick the can down the road. But it's gonna be fascinating what they do. I think it's the biggest question hanging over the Sharks, I think, for the rest, other than who's here, who gets traded, and who's here left after the trade deadline. I think the Askarov, Georgiev, Vitek Vanacek trio, who kind of gets left out, I think is the biggest question with the Sharks. And I think it's going to be, if Askarov keeps playing the way he's playing, and if Georgiev can find his game here, Sharks are going to have to make a tough decision. Well, no matter what they do, they're probably going to have to make a really tough decision here. So we'll continue here. We'll talk about William Eklund having a nice kind of quietly stringing some good games together for Eklund. We'll talk about Macklin Celebrini, if he needs some help, if we might need to break up the NCAA line. And then we'll dig into the numbers behind this game. So we'll get to there in just 1 second. From big upsets to game-winning drives, the NFL playoffs are better with FanDuel, because right now new customers can bet $5. You get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. FanDuel app gives you everything you need for live bets, same game parlays, and so much more. Again, as much as it pains me to say it, I love the Bills, especially this weekend. I think Josh Allen has a monster weekend. Give me all the touchdowns from Josh Allen, and I think the Bills win comfortably. So do with that what you will. You do all that over at FanDuel.com. Join today and get started with $200 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com. Make this playoff season unforgettable with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. All right. Before we continue, we talk about Eklund, talk about Celebrini. Do want to, of course, thank you guys for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. We're done with this episode. Go check out one of the other shows on the network. Of course, you have Locked On Fantasy Hockey. If your fantasy hockey team needs some help, who to start, who to sit, all that fun stuff, they got you covered there. Or go check out one of these shows in the Bay Area, where things are, of course, going swimmingly in Bay Area sports right now. Locked On Warriors, where it sounds like they're ready to burn it all down. You have Locked On A's, Locked On Giants. Hey, whenever you can sign a 40-year-old pitcher, you got to do it. Locked On Niners, plenty of great stuff here at the Locked On Network. We cover your team every day. All right. Let's talk about William Eklund first before we get to Celebrini. Eklund, a goal and assist tonight, has again kind of quietly been playing really well. We talked about, I think last week, about how the Sharks have just really, the offense has really kind of disappeared, and especially guys like Granlund and Eklund producing the same as well. Eklund quietly putting together some nice games. Look at his past 5 games. Tonight, goal and assist. Last game, his first came back from his injury, had an assist. Vancouver game where he left early, had a goal in that game. It looked like he was ready to kind of just do a bunch of great stuff. Held out in the Edmonton game, another goal in versus Colorado. In his past 5 games, that's 3 goals. 2, 3, that's 5 points. Not a math guy. 5 points in 5 games, that's a point per game. Eklund, this is what we're going to see from Eklund. And I'm glad to see he's starting to get rewarded with some of the goals, right? The big question, we saw a lot of the assists, we saw the playmaking. Looks like we're starting to kind of see that swing now of starting to get the goals going here. So good to see, because Eklund's one of my favorite players. Of course, any longtime Sharks fan, Locked On Sharks fan knows Eklund, special place in my heart. Glad to see that he's starting to get the production that I think he deserves, especially on a team that is still struggling to score goals. And I know both the goals were on a power play, but he's power play 2 unit. The power play 2 looked really good tonight, and they scored a goal. They scored 2 goals, right, with Liljegren back there. And I'm curious to see if Liljegren, for a team that's been running the 5-4 unit, maybe Liljegren kind of gets that spot for a little bit, at least until Wallman gets back, or who hopefully should be back maybe on Friday. So, but good to see Eklund starting to kind of get some production here, most deserving of it. So, but guy who's seen his production dip recently is one Macklin Celebrini. And I think we have to first start by reminding ourselves, Macklin Celebrini is not a normal person. Okay. He is 18 and is having a monster start to his season, his career. But he scored 2 goals basically in the last 5 games. You haven't seen the same kind of scoring production from him. And there's a couple factors to potentially think about, right? One, the combination between him, Will Smith, and Colin Graff, who are all rookie players, you're going to have ups and downs. And I think tonight was a perfect example of that, where they had plenty of opportunities to potentially score, and everything just missed, right? They also had plenty of time where they spent in their defensive zone tonight. And I normally kind of save the lines for, kind of like we talk about the numbers, but this line struggled tonight. They played 958, 6 shot attempts for, 18 allowed, 3 to 11 actual shots. Had a goal, gave up a goal, 0.27 to 0.77 expected goals for, 4 to 7 scoring chances, and 1 to 3 high danger chances. So, and it's those numbers aren't great. You also have to keep in mind you're playing Vegas, who's one of the best teams in the NHL, right? And Vegas is deep. They can throw out basically any line, and they're going to be able to match you. Like, even with the Sharks having, home ice to get the second change, everything like that. But like, there's not really there's no weak lines that you can kind of set up Celebrini for success. So, and I think for Celebrini, you're gonna have some lulls. All right. I think Celebrini's still playing well. Yeah, maybe he's not getting the point production that you would hope to see, especially the point production he was getting a little bit earlier. But he's also been playing against some of the best teams. He's been playing like second line, he's been playing 18 minutes a night or whatever. I think it's a lot to ask to continue to produce at the same rate he was producing. And he's gonna produce soon. And we saw Graff, Smith, and Celebrini had a lot of positive things happen tonight. And you saw a lot of just almost, right? How many was there was a beautiful Graff pass to Smith, who wide open in the slot, just miss. Smith has a puck kind of bounce on him where he has a wide open net. Like, the puck just bounces funny, right? It's a frozen piece of rubber on ice. It bounces funny sometimes. So I'm not worried about it yet. I also wouldn't be surprised if we do see a line tweak here. And we do have 2 days. Sharks have 2 days of practice. They have practice on Wednesday, Thursday before their game on Friday. I wouldn't be surprised if they maybe take Graff off that line, and maybe you bring Zetterlund back. We saw that at the end of the third period, or kind of in the third period there, we saw Zetterlund playing with this line. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw that either. But I still think Smith and Celebrini, those guys together, I think is when we've seen them play their best, right? And I know Celebrini has maybe better production with Toffoli or whomever, but I think we've seen bigger chunks of kind of more sustainable play, and they just haven't been rewarded with the production. And I think kind of just like we talked about Eklund, right? Man, Eklund's doing a lot of good stuff, but we're not seeing the goals. Hey, now look, we're starting to see goals from Eklund, because you're gonna eventually that stuff evens out. And maybe Celebrini got a little lucky with some of the scoring earlier, and maybe we're seeing that low right now. But I still think I'm not worried about Celebrini. You can talk me into keeping the Graff line, the NCAA line together, because I think that line looks really great. I think Colin Graff, even though he's a rookie, I think that time, especially that time he spent with the Barracuda, I think is really paying off. You're seeing his patience, his ability to kind of just process the game much quicker. Confidence. I think the puck always finds its stick, which is a positive trait. And having a guy where the puck always finds your stick, if you can get it to Celebrini and Smith, right? You saw it tonight. Smith had a beautiful chance and got saved. Sometimes that stuff happens. So, but I can also see, again, if you want to maybe try to make your life a little bit easier and try to split that line up, I could totally understand from there. So we'll probably find out more on Wednesday with our next practice. I'm curious to see how the Sharks navigate this little lull. I'm not worried about Celebrini. Celebrini's awesome. He's not going to score every game, but wouldn't be surprised if we see some Celebrini production here really soon. And the way he looked at the end of this game, where after Mark Stone picked his pocket, and that led to the empty net goal. That's a learning moment, kid. Like Mark Stone has done that to a lot of great players. It's the reason why Mark Stone is Mark Stone, and we all hate Mark Stone because he's done it to a lot of Sharks players. You're not the first, and you won't be the last, Celebrini. But you saw the way he took it on his bench, and I love that reaction from him. A kid, he's going to be determined. I wouldn't be surprised if on Friday, like, put me on for a 3-point night. I wouldn't be surprised, like 2 goals and assists, if he just comes out like on fire after that performance. So just, it's gonna be one of those things that Celebrini kind of tucks away for another day. But yeah, I think Celebrini, I think he's gonna be just fine, guys. So we're gonna finish up here, dig into the numbers, look at again the Sharks offense, just unable to produce much in this game. So we'll get to that here in just 1 second. I love going live events, of course, at the Tank. So if you want to go see Celebrini and Smith again on Saturday, got Wild coming to town. Hopefully Kirill Kaprizov's coming back soon. Need to get tickets. You need to check out Game Time. Game Time has made it even easier to get tickets for your favorite events, whether it's, like I said, want to go see the Sharks, want to go see the Warriors, whatever it is. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. We used Game Time a couple weeks ago to go see the Sharks play the Flames. Found great tickets. I think we were like 10th row in the corner. Had a great time right behind Askarov. So much fun. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. All right, let's finish up here by digging into the numbers of this game. And again, the Sharks, just like, credit to them. First period, they hung in tough, but you could see the cat like fingers coming off the line in this game. Is they got outshot heavily in this. So little under 55 minutes of 5v5, 70 to 39 shot attempts in favor of Vegas at 5v5. Actual shots on goal 35 to 18, 32 to 16 scoring chances, 15 to 7 high danger chances, 3.59 to 1.27 expected goals for. Again, all that in favor of Vegas. And that second period, so first period, 102 to 1.17 expected goals for. Like, the shot attempts were pretty close, 25 to 20. 14 to 10 scoring chances, 5 to 5 high danger chances. Like, pretty even first period with the Georgiev blah. Second period, 1.77 to 0.1 expected goals for. 9 to 28 shot attempts, 3 to 16 actual shots, 2 to 9 scoring. Like, Vegas just put their foot on the gas and did not let things up. Sharks were basically, if it wasn't for that power play, Sharks were not going to be able to score in that second period. And then the third period, when you're down a goal or down 2 goals, you got to try to tie things up. Vegas did a good job of just, again, keeping that like throttle where the Sharks just could not get any momentum. 10 to 17 shot attempts, 3 to 6 actual shots, 4 to 9 scoring chances, 2 to 4 high danger chances, 0.15 to 0.65 expected goals for. Vegas looking to put the Sharks away, right? Make it 4 to 2, and just put that game out of reach. They were able to do it in the empty netter, but that's what we've seen from the Sharks, right? They just don't have that extra gear. we don't expect him to have that extra gear right now. But again, thankfully, no more Vegas until at least October. So as for the lines, again, had a little bit difference. Kovalenko, who kind of started on the fourth line, got moved up to the third line, swapped with Klim Kostin, who got benched for a little while. Lines are a little bit funky here, but we'll do what we can with them. So the Lund line played 11:34, 7-14 shot attempts, 4-3 actual shots tonight, 0.3 to 0.41 expected goals for, 2-7 scoring chances, 2-4 high danger chances for that line. Like talked about the NCAA line, 10 minutes, 6-18, 3-11. So again, like everybody got a shot this game, especially when you're playing Vegas and those numbers are so one way in Vegas's favor. And like with a young line like that, Smith, Celebrini, Graf, like you're gonna have to live with some of the mistakes and some of the, those issues, but you hope that they can kind of just outscore their problems. And that line created the most scoring chances for the Sharks at 5-on-5. They had 4. Then the next line was the Cunning, Goodrow, Kovalenko line had 3. Like they had, like the 0.27 expected goals for is not too bad, but 0.77 expected goals allowed. Like, so again, I still think this line's played well, and I like to see them continue to play against like a normal team, not name the Vegas Golden Knights. So Goodrow, Cunning, Kovalenko played 5-12, 6-7 shot attempts, 4-4 actual shots, 0.33 to 0.22 expected goals for, 3-4 scoring chances, 2-1 high danger chances. I don't mind seeing that line together. And actually, Kovalenko playing up on the third line with Wenberg and Toffoli, I'm fine with that too. So I think Kovalenko needs to kind of be a little bit more in the mix there. Kostin, Wenberg, Toffoli played 4:55, 2-7 shot attempts, 1-6, 0.2 to 0.33 expected goals for. So maybe if you want to switch to Foley and Will Smith, put another potential option there. But yeah, so but I think, like I said, I think the big thing for the Sharks tonight was Georgiev kept them in this thing, and then that 5-on-5 offense, right? When you're just not able to generate shot attempts, pretty hard to win games that way. So as for the defensive pairs, Muka Madulin came back into this game. And for Mark-Ever Vlasic, him and Ruda actually led the way with Corsi 4, 11-15, 42.31% shot attempts for our Liljegren, 37.5%, 9-15. And then Thrun, CC were last, 29.73%, 11-26. Thrun, CC, of course, again, like the brutal matchups there. Good for Liljegren, though. Liljegren, I thought, played pretty well tonight, to be honest. And they need a name for if you draw the penalty and you score the goal on that penalty on that power play. They need a name for that. Like in football, right? If you score the touchdown, you get a 2-point conversion. It's called the octopus because you get all 8 points. They need something for if you score the power play on a power play that you drew. Need a name for that, but I think maybe with seeing Liljegren maybe running the power play might not be the worst thing in the world right now. So for the Sharks, especially against Vegas when you don't want to give up shorthanded goals. So, but overall, can't generate offense against a really good team like Vegas. You're probably not going to win, and the Sharks weren't able to win tonight. So we got a couple days off here on the calendar. That doesn't mean we're not going to keep coming out with content. We're going to be looking at the 2023 draft, kind of their midseason check-in with the prospects there. Look at how they're doing. We'll do something fun as well on Thursday or Friday. And then we'll actually have an episode Friday night after the Utah game. So full episode as well. So you'll probably get a nice double scoop on Friday, 1 in the morning and 1 in the evening. So make sure you're following wherever you get podcasts. And of course, you can watch on YouTube as well. Follow the show on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Locked On Sharks. Follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky at My Fry Hole. Till tomorrow. Bye, friends.